It's Friday, November 1. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Jamaicans are being urged to donate more blood. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says there is an increased demand for blood products such as platelets, driven in part by dengue infections. Platelets are made from blood and are needed by the body to help with the clotting of blood if there is severe bleeding. From the beginning of 2018 to present, a total of 6,525 suspected cases of dengue have been reported. The National Blood Transfusion Service, or Blood Bank, is looking to attract consistent numbers of voluntary donors as the entity seeks to meet its annual target of approximately 60,000 units. The shelf life of blood is 35 days, so there is a need to be a consistent supply of donors of blood. Persons wanting to donate blood can make contact with the Blood Bank at 922-518124. That's 922-518124. In addition to the Blood Bank's headquarters at Sly Pen Road, there are blood collection centers in Port Antonio, St. Anne's Bay, Cornwall Regional, Savannah Lamar, Mandeville, and Mapen hospitals, which are open from Monday to Friday. The National Chest Hospital facility on Barbican Road, St. Andrew, is open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays to accommodate blood donations. The St. Andrew Justice Center, located at 2 Hagley Park Road across from the York Plaza, was opened at 10 this morning. $22 million was spent to build phase 1 of the project to establish the center, which will provide additional justice service to the public.
These justice centers are important because it is from these centers that the custodies will make contact with all the justices of the peace. It is at that center that all the justices of the peace in the parish will gravitate in order not only to get information, but also to know what training sessions are being provided, and also to be able to organize as they deliver services across the parishes.
The opening of the St. Andrew Justice Center is just one of the measures being implemented to increase access to justice. It's the 8th Justice Center to be opened. The plan is to have justice centers in all 14 parishes. On completion of phase 2 of the infrastructure development at the St. Andrew Justice Center, the facility will house the office of the Custos of the parish, a child diversion office to steer unattached youths from being locked up, and Project Hope.
As I go around the island emphasizing child diversion, I also emphasize the need for parental support and parental obligation.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is urging members of the public to make use of the various justice services offered by the ministry and its agencies. Mr. Chuck noted that as part of measures to increase access to justice ministry, the ministry is undertaking infrastructure upgrading at the Court of Appeal, expanding the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and providing additional mobile justice units. The Ministry of Justice has also intensified its public education campaign. It recently staged an integrated justice fair at the Halfway Tree Transport Center in St. Andrew. The Justice Fair, held in collaboration with the European Union, saw over 17 government agencies providing information and advice to citizens. President of the University Academic Staff Union, UTASU, President Liebert Langley, is expected to meet with staff members of the University of Technology, UTech, today to discuss the Education Ministry's proposal of an interim payout of $400 million in retroactive wages to staff members. The ministry has proposed $250 million of expenditure and co-opted support from the administration of UTech for a further $150 million. It's uncertain whether that offer, which falls well short of the outstanding $886 million reportedly owed, will find favor with the 500 teachers on staff. Academic staff members at the university took industrial action to protest the non-payment of retroactive sums owed to them. Jamaica's 15th Housing and Population Census will officially get underway on April 5, 2021. The last census was done in 2011. Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says the exercise, to be conducted by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, is expected to be completed within 3 months. Minister Clarke says the government will be earmarking funds for the exercise in the 2021-2022 budget to ensure that it is a success. He made the announcement during the opening ceremony for the 44th meeting of the Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians at the Pegasus Hotel in Kingston. Players in the marijuana industry are still facing challenges in the banking sector. The issue was tabled by Chairman of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, Hyacinth Lightburn, at the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee meeting this week. Ms. Lightburn outlined at the meeting the challenges in moving forward due to the recurring banking issues, which she says the CLA does not have the ability to fix.
In my opinion, one of the major reasons why we cannot move forward in this country, the only industry as far as I am aware that operates without a banking system and flourishes is an illegal one. The concept that I have, to give you real-life examples, I have an individual who's building a processing facility for which the bank of the contractor won't cash the check. I have an individual who has foreign investors for which, because they can't wire the money into the country, they have to fly people in with an under amount in order to get it in. It is a real-life problem.
According to Ms. Lightburn, the CLA is a regulator in the ganja industry, and it could not get a bank account for almost a year. She said there are currently 238 individuals under the CLA without a bank account. Member of Parliament Marissa Dalrymple Philbert challenged Ms. Lightburn on whether or not the industry, which the CLA insists is growing, can ever really grow.
My concern is that when you interface with associations, it has to have some reality and have some base as to where it is that they're planting, because they're not planting on the seaside down in Falmouth. Not much, but in the hills and so. So I am not comfortable.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I am not comfortable. I am not comfortable with the fact that nothing has happened in the rural areas.
Ms. Lightburn reminded the PAC that she could only do what is in her power under the laws. The CLA is an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. The debate surrounding special types of leave to employees for specific family issues and situations is increasing. Dr. Alistair Hines, Director of Human Resource Management at the University of the West Indies, Mona, is suggesting that the current discussions surrounding paternity leave should also include these types of special arrangements. The UWI Mona and Flow Jamaica have both reportedly instituted policies for paternity leave. Speaking on Radio Jamaica, Dr. Hines argued that the time has come for the discussion to become more purposeful about the types of arrangements which are needed to fit the complexities of modern family life. People Director for Flow Jamaica and Cayman, Phaedra Saunders, explained that the discussion with employers could also include flexibility with some aspects of work. According to Dr. Hines, there has been no abuse of the paternity leave since the policy has been implemented at the UWI. PBCJ paid a visit to the university to get the views of staff and students on the issue of paternity leave.
Yes, I am of the belief that Jamaican men should be given paternity leave, and I can draw on the example of my friend who lives in Japan. He informed me that he was on 1 year paternity leave, and he explained to me that in his country, they actually partner with insurance companies. So for example, in the first half of the year, he gets 60% of his pay, and then the next half he gets 50%, which is still very good. And I think it gives him an opportunity to be in the home and help raise the child and help out the mother who just come off having extensive labor. You know, she's going to need all the help she can, and with the mother and father in the home, that would be good for the child. Whereas in Jamaican society, most men are absent anyways, and they're not a part of the child rearing. So I think it would be a good opportunity to him.
Well, I believe that it would be good to have men a part of the maternity leave. Here's why I say that. So there is a philosophy that I subscribe myself to, and that's the Ubuntu. I am because we are. And we have a crisis in Jamaica right now where not many men are a part of the raising of their children. So maybe if we look in the direction of saying once the fathers are available and they want to take some time off to spend time with the wife and to help with raising of the child, just to help change even a diaper, just to help put the baby to sleep, you know. Pregnancy and then giving birth to a child, you know, that it takes a lot out of the woman. So I believe that we should look into giving men a chance to be a part of the maternity leave so that they can be a critical part in the raising of their children.
Definitely, I do think Jamaican men should get paternity leave because it's really important to have the male perspective in a child's life, especially when grooming boys. And you know, Jamaica have a high rate of single mother households, so you know, having households that have males in it is important for males to get leaves, to spend time with their children, to play their part. It's very important to do that so we can have a better society, because you know, because of how men are especially socialized, we have this tendency to silence boys or to tell them that silence is strength. So we need men who are strong to teach boys, you know, be a little vulnerable, you know, show some form of positive emotions, that is, so we can have a better society.
Yes, it can happen. It can happen on certain grounds. For example, if he's in a marriage, yes, a legal union, with his wife, it could get like a month just before the birth of a child and a little bit after the birth of a child, yes. Or if he's in a common law union, a stabled one, he can, but it should not be for a man that likes to go around with different women. So this year he gets paternity leave for one baby mother. Next year again he asks his employer for paternity leave for another baby mother. Has to be either between a legally married man and a woman, or if he's in a stable common law relationship.
Patients at public hospitals can now access services provided by 10 approved diagnostic radiology entities if they are not available at facilities to which they have been admitted. The disclosure was made by Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton while responding to questions from Member of Parliament for Central Kingston, Ronald Thwaites, during the last sitting of the House of Representatives. The service providers includes Apex Radiology, Dan Hope Radiology, Dynamic Imaging Services, Erin Radiology, Imaging and Intervention Associates, Chris Radiology, North Coast Imaging, Radiology West, St. Jago Ultrasound and X-ray, and the University Hospital of the West Indies.
Test procedures, investigations which are covered are CT scans, MRI scans, ultrasounds, endoscopy, that is colonoscopy, and urogenital endoscopy, fluoroscopy, mammography, X-ray for inpatient care.
The framework agreements facilitating the arrangement, signed on September 25, came into effect on Monday, October 7.
Where a public hospital does not have the capacity in-house to provide the required diagnostic radiology tests, whether due to lack of equipment or equipment malfunctioning, patients will be referred to a contracted service provider by the hospital administration based on the recommendation by the attending physician for the required tests to be administered.
This, he further advised the House, will be based on the recommendation of the attending physician at hospitals and outpatient clinics. Let's see where our taste buds led us this week on Culinary Trails. Welcome to another episode of Culinary Trails. I'm Simone Absalom. In this episode, we'll be going back to our roots, going back to menus from the motherland. Welcome to Cafe Africa.
Cafe Africa is open daily. We really are open by reservation. We're an RSVP only restaurant, whether you're calling for a catering or whether you want to come in and dine.
You're not really usually known as a restaurateur. You're known for your activism for black people. You're known as the president of the UNIA.
Cafe Africa was established by the Kingston Division of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Of course, that's the organization that was founded by Marcus Garvey in Jamaica in July of 1914. So, we operate out of a property that was formerly the personal offices of Marcus Garvey right here at 2 Trafalgar Road. A lot of people don't know the reason the bust of him is in the yard is because he once owned the property. So it really wasn't my personal initiative, but rather, for many years we've been involved in rebuilding the Universal Negro Improvement Association in Jamaica. And of course, in its heyday, when Garvey was our President General, the UNIA operated several businesses under their corporate banner, the African Communities League. This included restaurants, grocery stores, hotels, schools, farms, and eventually the infamous Black Star Line, which coincidentally this year, 2019, marks the centenary, the 100-year anniversary of the incorporation of the Black Star Line. But before the Black Star Line, there was the Universal Restaurant Garvey opened in Harlem, New York. So we came with Universal Africa Restaurants, which is the holding company, but we operate under the banner of Cafe Africa. So what we've done is chosen, dishes that we think will resonate with the Jamaican palate, recognizing the fact that our own cuisine is African-based because we are a people majority African descendant. So we're up to now 27 countries, that's half the continent. So we do dishes from places like Egypt and Morocco in the north, to Kenya, Tanzania in the east, Mozambique, South Africa in the south. We do dishes from Congo, Central African Republic in the center, and of course Nigeria, Gambia, Senegal in the west, So I'm not sure I named all 27 there, but last count was we had at least one dish from 27 countries in Africa.
I see you have some utensils here. You were telling me a bit about them. How do you incorporate that in the experience?
Well, we wash everybody's hands before they eat, and primarily because a lot of our dishes, patrons may choose to eat with fufu, or they may choose to eat with ugali, or they may choose to eat with milipap, or they may choose to eat with sadza. What am I talking about? Those are regional names basically for the same sort of starchy product, whether made from plantain or cassava or yam. It's pounded down, then rehydrated in water and made into like a soft dumpling. But you don't use knife and fork. You break it with your hand, you dip it in your stew, and you savor it. So much as you may go to a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant and like to use chopsticks, we like to give you an authentic feel here. So if you're going to be ordering fufu, you're going to be eating with your hands. I'm going to be giving you samples of at least one dish from each region. So I'm going to give you something from the south, I'm going to give you something from the east, I'm going to give you something from the west, maybe something from the north. So you'll be trying two different types of rices, East African, West African. You'll be having a mchicha, which is from Tanzania, with a little fufu, which is from West Africa. That's the one you eat with your fingers. And I'm also going to be featuring bubuti, which is the national dish of South Africa, and the little chicken domoda being the national dish of Gambia. So I'm taking you all over the continent, and we're going to be stopping in on about a half dozen countries today.
All right, well, I can't wait to taste it. Sounds delicious. In regional news, in the Bahamas, the government has announced residents and businesses on hurricane-hit Abaco, the Keys, and Grand Bahamas will be exempt from paying value-added tax on a range of items until June 2020. The move is designed to stimulate the economy of the islands affected by Hurricane Dorian, which battered the island on September 1 to 3.
Fruit and vegetable juice, clothes, shoes, accessories, cleaning supplies, beds and bedding material, hardware supplies, building, landscaping, and pest control supplies, electrical fixtures and materials, electrical generators, farming, fishing, and manufacturing equipment, cots, protective and safety gear, household furniture and appliances, solar panels, mosquito netting, plumbing fixtures and materials, office supplies and equipment, tents, air conditioning units, and other equipment. Value-added tax on fuel for generators in areas still without electricity will also be VAT-free. An Office of the Prime Minister release confirmed that details and start date for the new policy will be announced. The Prime Minister also revealed plans to establish the Bahamas National Recovery and Reconstruction Trust Fund, an independent, non-political body to help fund home and building repairs.
Over in Guyana, a new political party, Change Guyana, is promising that if it wins the next general election, nurses and teachers will no longer have to pay taxes. The party is putting up a businessman as its presidential candidate and an accountant as his running mate.
Badal was a strong supporter of the APNU-AFC coalition during the 2015 elections campaign. Almost 5 years later, he feels the coalition government has failed the electorate as the previous PPP government did. The party leaders provided a list of plans and objectives, chief among which is exempting nurses and teachers from taxes and eradicating poverty.
We need to implement tax incentives to boost economic development. Properly implemented tax incentives will reduce unemployment, increase foreign and local investment, and reduce poverty. Our tax system must make exempt from taxes the salaries of our teachers and nurses to encourage and incentivize the delivery of social services.
A few broad initiatives include the following. And Nigel made my job much easier to narrow down the list of things I have here. Accelerate economic growth through energizing the private sector to create a fertile environment for investments. An aggressive program of poverty alleviation by creating jobs and giving Guyanese a greater share of their income.
Badal also promised to fix the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, which has faced heavy criticisms over the years. Change Guyana is the 5th political party to be launched this year. It follows the Citizenship Initiative, a New and United Guyana, Federal United, and the Liberty and Justice Party. The parties are gearing up to contest the March 2, 2020 general and regional elections.
In sports, a member of the Reggae Girls team, 20-year-old Tarania Clark, was reportedly stabbed and killed during an altercation in Halfway Tree, Kingston last night. Clark made her senior debut for Jamaica on September 30, 2019. Ms. Clark, who also played as midfielder for the Waterhouse FC, secured one of the goals for the Reggae Girls when the team thrashed St. Lucia 11-0 during the Caribbean Olympic qualifying game at the National Stadium in Kingston on October 6 this year. A graduate of Excelsior High School, where she was also captain of the football team, Ms. Clark was reportedly leaving Jamaica come January 2020 to attend school in the United States of America. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, Michael Ricketts, says that the body is seeking to raise US $2 million, that's just over 276 million Jamaican dollars, annually to prepare its senior national men's team for the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualification campaign. With that said, chairman of the financial committee that will lead the JFF's sponsorship drive will also soon be named. The Reggae Boys have been in good form recently, which has seen them top Group C of League B in the CONCACAF Nations League with maximum 12 points. Ricketts said that he is impressed with the team's performance and he is confident that they will do well when they compete in the World Cup qualifiers next year. In other sporting news, West Indies women will face India today in the first of 3 ODIs in Antigua. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.